And today we're getting more familiar with the light source on Mars and the area in front of it, or more specifically, or whatnot, PIA 18077. And when you first have a good gander at this area, you kind of wonder where that light source is coming from. And you can't help but to speculate it might be some underground source. And if so, you must imagine what could be over that area as well. And with the various tools, we're going to probe that vicinity, and we're going to use various modes such as the exposure and brightness and chroma tools and the invert tool as well. And you can come up with some very amazing ideas regarding that. And you can't help but to stipulate that there might be some areas that resemble a countryside and or a village-like area with wall structures and various shapes and architecture that have shapely designs to them. But you can probe for yourself, and let's get started right away. Once again, today we're interested in PIA 18077, which is the light source on Mars. That's this area right here. Now, at first, it is a bit shadowy, but with some of the probing tools, we'll make this very much more interesting. And when we add in some of the different tools, we find that there is some very interesting areas. Now, this is using the lightness tool, brightness tool a bit, and right away that area that was in shadow has given us some more leeway to view the the structures. And zooming in a bit, we could discern some very interesting areas. For example, right around here, you can see that there does appear to be some straight lined architecture on the ground there. And also in the hill, there seems to be some symmetrical designs over here. Whether they're buildings or just architectural structures or whatever you'd like to define them as, they are there. So we've just zoomed in a bit with that and rolling right along to some other areas. Now with the next tool, which is the light chroma tool, we've come up with some areas and they've been marked easier to view. And we'll just go in a bit more if we may. And now you can see that those areas do become a bit more interesting. You can see there's a type of structure along here. Now, what is that exactly? Is that walls around some type of settlement? There are some interesting architectural elements there as well. And I'll call this the countryside or whatnot, but there does appear to be orderly design around here. And this is the light source, of course. And also in here, these appear to be structures and settlements or whatnot. Also along here. Now let's just explore that a bit more. Just getting a bit more familiar with the size of the area. You can see that it does become a bit more interesting now. These are certain regions that appear to have design and architecture to them. It appears to be a linear structure here. These could be buildings and various structures of design. Also in here. And here as well. Could be yet another region of civilized planning. And of course this area here in addition. And now we'll probe with the invert tool. And there are many more tools you can use as well to probe the area. It's just a matter of your preference. There's the light source there, and
it's just that it's inverted to have another view.
And the hill seems more interesting now. So we'll zoom in a bit with this in addition. And get more familiar with the area. As you can determine, there is definitely a creative design here. And also in the countryside, or quote, or whatever you'd like to name it, to call it or whatnot. There's the other area. Very symmetrical designs here, very planned. Indicative of creativity. And there's a light source as well. Even along the top here, there seems to be structures and the like. There's an interesting array of structures along the top here as well. Very designed. And now we've changed the combination to the lightness, exposure, and the brightness tool. And we've come up with this particular concoction. See, there are some structures that are more discernible in this area. We'll get a little more familiar with that. As you can determine, there are some very interesting shapes in here. Such type of triangular. These appear to be some types of buildings. Even here, there appears to be some type of complex there. And just let your eyes focus on this area here. That's very interesting. It's a huge conglomeration of structures all along here. Here as well. Very rectangular. This structure here seems to be interesting too. Seems to be a shadow on the side. And even at another angle, you can still see that there are some very vivid designs in here on top of this hill. This very circular object here. This whole hill is now more interesting with the detail. Back to the other side here, the left side. And as you can see, there are structures in the foreground and various areas, very shapely designs and architectural marvels, so to speak. Does appear to be a quote countryside type of perspective, village-like walls and structures. All in all, very intriguing, to say the least. Please go over this according to your preference, and until next time, all the best, and thank you once again. And with some further ideas then on this light source area on Mars, or more accurately PIA 18077, after going over this vicinity, you can determine, of course, that there are some very shapely designs, and the shapes and architectural style are quite notable. And of course, it does look somewhat like a country style, and also it has village style architecture with walls and various structures, and you can only imagine where the light source is starting from. Is it below the surface of Mars? And what would that look like? And all of these areas, after using the various modes of probing, are very encouraging, and you're encouraged to continue pursuing your ideas with your exploration. Until next time, Ninian saying thank you for your time once again.